Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this Monday morning. We love Monday mornings on Panhandle Outdoors. It started off with a great week and all kind of exciting things. First of all, the weather is going to be beautiful today. Brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Alden Road and Highway 77. And we're looking at a high today of 85, a low tonight of 64. I've checked the whole week's schedule. This is going to be high in the mid-80s and low in the mid-60s. Really beautiful week set up. I'm looking at our moon phases. Every Monday we like to look at the moon phases and checking it out now. Today's October the 14th. Can you believe we're about halfway through the beautiful month of October? And we're looking at our full moon coming up here this weekend. It's like Saturday night, the 19th will be the full moon. So we got that waxy moon. We're going to have some beautiful nights here in the Panhandle. Okay, now our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Their motto is "When Caring Counts." A bunch of good folks down the road from where we are now, and they'll be willing to help you in a time of need. Now we're looking at it again on the 14th, and this is going to be the last day of good tides. We're going to be in neat tides with that moon building up like that the rest of the week. But on today, the 14th, a high tide this morning at 6:12, and a low tide this afternoon at 3:14, and you got a 1.6 foot range, and then it's tapering off for the next 3 or 4 days. So that takes care of our marine forecast. It'll be a slight breeze out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour. So we're in pretty good shape there. All right, takes care of our weather. Let's take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with a familiar face, and it's Tommy Barnes.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. For Bill Kramer, but folks, we're not going to talk about cars and trucks right now. We're going to talk about fishing because, Tommy,
I'm telling you,
it's been tearing them up, hasn't it?
they have been tearing them up down there at the creek. When we refer to the creek, I think most folks know where Howard's Creek is. You know, years ago, I remember, I don't remember this, but I remember hearing stories. My dad used to say that long road is about 5 or 6 miles down there to the creek when it was a bad road. And of course, you know, it took a long time to get there. It was one of them out-of-the-way places, but now it's got good highway all the way to the end of the road down there, and they are tearing them up down there.
You brought up a good point. It did used to be old dirt road. Now, I wonder what those old timers who are not with us anymore, what they would think if they could see that paved road going all the way down there now. They'd say, we're spoiled.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But I know at the dealership and all, you got guys and ladies coming in all on a daily basis, and I know y'all talking fishing and all.
Absolutely.
Your reports have been pretty good, haven't they?
Man, they've been fabulous. If you want to catch some brim and shell cracker, you need to get down to Howard's Creek. You got 2 good landings down there. Man, you don't have to go very far. You don't have to have a big bass boat. All you got to do is, you know, if you can get to the Brothers River, you can put a trolling motor in and troll out there and have still. All you got to do is just turn left or right when you get out there. Find you a shade and eddy.
Yep, a little eddy. And crickets.
We got to
have some crickets.
Yeah. Well, we didn't want. We got to be careful telling everybody about this secret weapon here. You can't go wrong with a cricket.
Well, you know, and you got to get good fresh crickets too. And our sponsors, Blue Water and Sunjammers, they have good fresh crickets.
That's right.
And you're talking about you got to learn how to hold a breath.
Yeah. Now, you know, I was thinking about this, Coach, because a lot of people take them old cheap crickets. You know, you get a little cheap cricket, weak cricket. You need one of them good, healthy crickets. One that's been working out, you know, one that's been at the gym, you know, eating good, I was going to tell you a little tip. I thought about this. You know, when I was growing up, my daddy'd always come in. We never used all the crickets. He'd get 200 or 300 crickets, you know, and we never used all the crickets. We brought them crickets back, and I always thought, well, them poor little crickets are going to die. Dad said, no, we're going to go back again. But I said, well, how are we going to keep them alive? And he'd always cut a potato and put it in the bottom of that cricket. And I thought,
it'd be a wedge. My dad did the same thing, a wedge of potato, and then they come out the next day, and those crickets are all on there. And what are they doing? Getting water.
Well, that's what I wondered. I said, are they eating potatoes? No wonder they're so strong. They get a lot of carbohydrates, you know. But they was getting that water. That's where they get their water from. And they'd stay alive for days. And so, but make sure you get some good crickets and go down there. And then the next thing we'll talk about when we get a chance is a good brim buster.
Yep.
Ain't nothing better than a good limber 10, 12, 14-foot brim buster. with some,
Yeah.
6-pound test line or 4.
I like those brim busters, but I've still been old school with the old cane pole. I still got my old cane poles hanging up there about the back side of the house.
Is
I
that
haven't
right?
used them in a while, but they still, every time I walk by there, I say, I'm going to use you pretty soon.
There you go. That's what you got to
But
do.
those brim busters, when the guy came out with those years ago, that was something special.
Listen, Jack Simmons, Mr. Jack, our boss man up there in the pre-owned division of Mr. Kramer, Bill Kramer Chevrolet, he has been going, and he's been going out at Howard's Creek. He took his brother and his daddy with him the other day, and they had 75 of the prettiest brim that you've ever seen in your life. Matter of fact, he went and got them cleaned and everything and had a bunch fried up, and they said they fed several people the other night.
Tell Jai to send me a picture of that so we can share it with folks.
I've got to.
I've got to the point now where I don't believe these fishing stores until I see a picture, because the picture is so convenient, with your cell phone, just click it and send it.
Well, let me tell you, I know it was true because the other day I needed to borrow his demo, just to run over, do something. And he said, wait a minute, I can't let you borrow that demo right now. I said, why not? He said, well, I got a bunch of cleaned brim in the front seat in a box. So they were already gutted, cleaned, and everything ready to fry. And I knew he was serious about that. I had to get another truck to do what I needed to do because he was guarding them brim with his life. He didn't want nobody to get in them things.
Speaking of cars and trucks real quick, you were telling me one of our sponsors, Haney Technical Center,
That's right.
a lady from over there came down.
Miss Terry Raines, Danny and Terry Raines. Danny worked out there a long time till he retired. He was at Bay High School. Been a friend of mine all my life. I mean, I was raised across the street from him in Lynn Haven there. And he was one of the original ones that actually got me into bass fishing years ago. He would carry me. We would go all over them sand hills back when we had water.
Yeah.
We used to have some water up there, and we'd crawl all over. He had an old Dodge truck. And
I remember that.
Old blue Dodge.
He loved fishing.
Yeah, and we would wade out there. We'd take an old paddle-tail worm or a June bug worm and wade out there about waist deep and fish them grass beds up around river ponds. I've walked river ponds waist deep when I was a kid, man.
So Terry, his wife, came by and bought a car.
Bought a brand new Chevy Volt, a 2013 Chevy Volt. That's an electric car, folks. And I'm going to tell you something. They absolutely love it. She drives back and forth to work every day, which is about a 30-mile trip. And we're talking about
now, would I go on a battery to help most of the way?
It's all the way.
All the way?
Yeah, all the way.
So,
generally, it's all the way. She's cut her fuel bill. She used to have a $400 a month fuel bill. Now it's virtually going to be nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. And her payment went down, so that's great. Well, She's saving money all the way around.
That's a good idea.
She absolutely loves it.
A situation like that, that's when I really believe the electric cars and all serve such a good purpose, because they live up in the sand hills, so she can drive down to Haney and they made the whole trip.
Make the whole trip. She plugs it in when she gets home at night. Danny called me yesterday, was telling me about, he said, man, we just plug it in when we get home. By the next morning, it's ready to go again. 110 outlet right on your house and plugged in, And she can run 65, 70, 75, 80 miles an hour, no problem.
Don't go that fast now. That'll be some of the law enforcement watching.
Well, she can run that. She don't have to run that.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Panhandle Outdoors. And here with Tommy Barnes, and we're talking about fishing and all. So we're going to, I have some pictures I want to share with you. Let's go and start the week off right. It's been a great weekend in outdoors. This first picture, one of Steve Stopka. He graduated from a class last year, and I think we taught him well, Tommy.
I believe you did. Coach looking at that.
Nice looking. He and his buddies went out and got some nice flounder the other night. Good job, Steve Stopka. Okay, this has nothing to do with fishing, but this is not a Photoshop. This is my wife's cousin from Tallahassee, and she sent this picture of a giant mushroom. Y'all ever seen anything like that?
I've never seen one.
That's in Tallahassee, right outside of town there, where she works in one of those state buildings outside of town, on the city limits there in Tallahassee. And she just was fascinated with it. I mean, I've never seen one that big.
If we could get crickets to grow that big, imagine what size brim we'd catch.
And there's about the frogs up underneath that mushroom.
Ooh, I'm telling you.
This one, now again, this is not a Christmas decoration. This is 3 a.m. Okay, and they sent this to me. The folks up there, actually, this is not here in town here. This is actually up in Blowing Rock, North Carolina at 3 a.m. Just the deer walk the street up there. There's so many deer, they just walk up and down the street at night. All right, this is getting back to a local. This is Margie Davis, 75 years old, Tommy.
Yep.
And enjoying fishing. She's out there fishing with Matt Smith. And look, is she happy? I mean, Matt says she just was full of energy, loved fishing, and she enjoyed that last cast as much as she enjoyed that first cast. He just said it was just a pleasure to take her fishing. Margie Davis right there. And for you turkey hunters, we got some turkey hunters coming up. This is something you can go ahead and tell them Santa Claus this is what you want. So show it to your wives. All turkey hunters want something like this. All right. Tom Gurley took a.
You better not let the Duck Dynasty boys see that.
That's true now.
Good gracious.
Tom Gurley's out at State Park. He always just takes great nature pictures. Tom Gurley. And then one more. Let's show about 1 or 2 more snapper pictures. This is Glenn Boutwell. Beautiful snapper here. And we're about to wrap up the federal part of the season. Tomorrow is going out, so it has been a really good season for folks that have time to go out. All right, that takes care of just some basic pictures. You know, it's a great situation here, Tommy, just to be able to just show so many pictures of folks seeing in and just show you the variety of different things there. I mean, that was trout, flounder, and a snapper, boom, 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 like that. And we talking about freshwater fishing. Now, what about, have you done any bass fishing or fly fishing, anything lately? Or?
The fly fishing has been excellent. I mean, the reports that we're getting, Jack went down there, him and John, one of our other service guys, one of our other sales managers, they went the other day. I think they had 75 between the two of them. They're just, you know, he sat in one spot and caught half a dozen. Just one spot, just flipping that little fly in there. And my dad's a big fly fisherman. He absolutely, he doesn't even take crickets anymore because he's got so proficient with that fly rod. He can flip it up under the trees and everything. And he started using the leader is about a 4 or 5 pound piece of braid, which is a lot tougher than your monofilament. It's real small, and he likes to use that as his leader now. And he was telling me about that the other day. And it seems to be a little tougher when you do get it hung up in a leaf or something.
And the visibility is real
visibility, real thin. You can't, you know, it's just excellent. And George Johnson told me yesterday or last week. He told me when he was leaving the gym, he said, "I'm going to the creek." You know, he was working out over at Healthplex there, and he said, "Man, as soon as I get through, I'm heading to the creek." I said, "You rascal, you lucky devil, you know." They can't wait to get down there because they're eating it up right now. The Brothers River is hot. The Big River's hot. Just anywhere down there that you can find a little eddy, shady spot.
Well, if you look back, we talked about it on the show, if you look back on it over the past year, you know, we've had a lot of rain and a lot of water. And way back then when we had all this rain, we kept telling people this is going to be really good for the fishing once it goes down. Because all that water got up in the sloughs and the swampy area and brought all those nutrients and all the insects back and everything. And now
they fed good. They got fat. Pretty. I've seen a lot of red breast. Choctawhatchee over here. Hey, I saw pictures last week of Billy Don up there at our office. Billy Don was showing me pictures of some of the biggest, prettiest red breasts you've ever seen in your life. And
did you catch them on the upper part of the river? Or
no, the lower part, down around Bunker. He down there, and he lives at Bunker. You know, over there has a place at Bunker, and goes in there and just right off his dock, he goes out, and he doesn't stay a couple hours. He'll have him, you know, a double sack full.
You know, every time I hear these reports, I just, you know, almost get. I just think about what paradise we live in. We right in between the Choctawhatchee and Apalachicola River.
That's right.
You know, and then we're out here all the great fishing here, and then we're bordered with those two great rivers.
You know, Joe Lee is a friend of the show and everything, watches every day. Matter of fact, watches faithfully. His brother down in Carabel, they just bought them a new truck the other day, and took it down there to them, and they happy as, man, him and his wife, they're just super folks. You can't, just southern hospitality. Live right there on the river there, the Carabel River. That is a place that I did not realize. That is a super.
It's the last remaining. I mentioned it's the last remaining fishing village in Florida.
Man, he said he just goes out and catches them brim sugar. And I told him, I said, I'm coming down here bass fishing. He said it's a bass fisherman's paradise down there.
It really is. Well, you know, talking about trucks, and I was thinking the other night, I knew you were going to be coming on the show. I was going to ask you, you know, we really, I'm a four-wheel drive guy. I always had a four-wheel drive, but I was thinking with the boat ramp improvements and all over the past decade or 15 or 20 years maybe, we really don't use four-wheel drive as much as we used to.
No, we really don't.
But back in the old days, the ramps were, I mean, you had those dirt ramps and you had to have four-wheel drive to get your boat in and out. But now, they're all fixed up.
Now most of your trucks have limited slip differentials. In other words, we call it the old positive traction.
Yeah.
Well, when you put a boat on there, if you've got a good tongue weight, you've got, you know, a pretty heavy tongue weight, the truck's got plenty of weight in it. Most of the time, you don't even need to put it in four-wheel drive. I pull my boat, I've got a 22-foot Ranger, and it's heavy. It's real heavy. They call it the lead sled a lot of times, aircraft carrier. But I pull it out with a Tahoe.
Yeah.
A two-wheel drive Tahoe.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to spend that extra money. If you're not a big hunter, you know, when we were dog hunting, back when dog hunting, we all had four-wheel drives because we were going through bad mud holes and everything else. But nowadays, I have a lot of people that dog hunt. What little bit of dog hunters left is on two-wheel drive. The roads are better, even the logging roads, because they've got to keep those roads where those logging trucks can get in and out. And we've done a lot of logging road repairs, and so they're good roads out there. You know, so you don't need to spend that extra money.
And that's exactly, you know, I bought Gail that Tahoe last month and all, and that's a decision I made. I normally would have four-wheel drive, and I got to thinking we just don't use four-wheel drive anymore.
Not that much, really.
Now, I won't get me another truck pretty soon, but I may still, I'm just still old school, but I may get back to it.
May have to have a four-wheel
drive. Somebody's got to have a four-wheel drive.
There anyway, you go.
You know, it's still, I was amazing because I was pulling the boat out the other day, and I was thinking about how simple it is, just a two-wheel drive. Boom,
sure.
Right. Okay, let's take our final break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So here with Tommy Barnes. We're talking about crickets and flies and four-wheel drives and everything that outdoors we'll talk about, I guess.
There you go.
All right, look, before we get back to it, let's look at our fishing game forecast today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Got to fish him the other day. Mark's a great fisherman. Enjoy fishing with him. Our times, we're looking at 8:55 a.m. to 10:55 this morning, and then this evening, later on, 9:21 to 11:21. Those are two times right there, brought to us by Mark Coward. And we appreciate all our sponsors. And Bill Kramer Chevrolet is one of our sponsors, and they're good folks down there. And I know sometimes I just like to stop down there and talk to them. They always got something going on.
We've always got something going on, folks. I'm telling you.
And you got just a whole room full of outdoorsmen in there. They can talk turkey hunting.
We got more fishermen down there, you know, on that 10 acres than probably anywhere else in town.
Yeah.
And we've got a few guys down there that think they're turkey hunters, so they'll tell you a yarn. You know.
You're talking about Moon.
Oh yeah, old Moon Phillips.
We're gonna get Moon on the show one day.
Yeah, we need to get him on here. I told him yesterday I slipped out the front door, or the other day I slipped out the front door, and I heard him, and I wondered what in the world he was doing, and I eased around and he had all his turkey callers out there, had his mouthpieces, and, you know, he was yipping and calling, and I started to go get mine and go out the back door and went and answer him, you know.
Right there on 23rd Street.
Yeah, right on 23rd Street.
Turkey's coming down 23rd
That's
Street.
Right. Of course, the two biggest turkeys was me and him, so.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, we're talking about all the weather. You know, we're in October, and you know things start cooling down. And we talked about in the mornings, or you get up in the morning now, it's cool. And I talked the other day about taking a little jacket with you and out on the boat because it gets cool going down that river, out in the bay.
Absolutely.
And we're at that time change right now as far as weather. So
I brought this right here. This is a secret. I mean, a good. It's called a jig. Okay. We're cooling off. Weather's going to start cooling off. I'm going to put it right out there.
Okay. Let's see. How can we get it right here, Bob?
And that right there, that color is a crawfish color.
Okay.
I like that. When the weather gets cooler, the water cools down, especially after we get the first good frost or freeze. When that water temperature drops dramatically, I'm going to start throwing a jig. I found, especially in the Dead Lakes area, in the river, I throw that jig with a pork frog, a crawfish colored pork frog on that jig. And there's a bunch of different kind of jigs, you know. I use a rattleback jig a lot of times, or if I'm fishing Seminole, I use a grass buster. I want something 1.5 ounces to get down through that grass. And you can leave it in the strike zone. You just bounce it up and down a few times. If you don't hit it, pull it up, put you back in again. In the Dead Lakes area, I've caught some nice 3, 4, 5 pound bass, just slow dragging this thing, maybe a little hop. You got to decide what, you know, the fish have got to tell you how they want it. If they want it hopping or if they want it just slowly dragging across the bottom. But that jig's going to be a great bait come wintertime.
And you like that color?
I like that color.
Yeah.
I like that brown and red crawfish.
Like a rusty, almost a rust color.
Rust color, yeah. I like black and blue.
Okay.
Black and blue is a tried and true color, proven,
Yeah.
and it's very good as we get closer to this cool weather as it starts cooling down.
Now, what else? I know you. What else would you do after that? This is
Well,
not working.
I'll tell you what. A little story of Hank Parker told me this one. He said that he was fishing, and when he first started out, a guy he fished with was throwing a jig, and he said he was throwing a jig and he had put his pork frog on, and the guy told him, says, Hank, says, you've got your pork frog on backwards. He didn't even know he could put a pork frog on backwards, you know.
Yeah.
And so Hank said, well, I'm going to go ahead and fish it because it's so hard to get a pork frog off, you know. And so he flipped it in there. First cast, I think he caught a 6-pounder by a first stump.
Fishing backwards.
Fishing the pork frog backwards. He said he got him in, put him in live well, and he said he threw it right back in there and caught a 7-pounder. Got it in the boat, and he heard a commotion. And he looked around, and that guy that told him he was putting it on backwards was down in the bottom of the boat changing, putting his pork frog on backwards. So there ain't really no bad way of fishing a jig. Put the pork frog on it, put it out there, and let the big bass do it.
So often that will happen. You put something on a little bit wrong, and I guess it just gets their attention. Or something.
I've made a bad cast and have a bird nest. And be getting the bird nest out, and all of a sudden look out there, and a big bass be coming there and got you plugged.
I know it. Trauma, buddy, we got to wrap things up.
Oh, man.
As always, appreciate you coming on.
Enjoy it every time.
Y'all run by to Bill Kramer and see Tommy. Just talk about fishing, get some of those fishing tips and all. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching Panhandle Outdoors. You do something good for someone today. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.